Hi creatives, you're welcome to another interesting sewing tutorial. I am Dima, and on today's tutorial I'll be sharing with you how to make this beautiful short bubble dress with asymmetric neckline. It's really an easy one to make and you will love the whole process of bringing this beautiful dress to life. If this sounds like what you're interested in, then stay till the end so that you see every bit of what I did to achieve it. If you've not subscribed to my channel, do well to do so. And if you have, thank you for subscribing, and you will not regret being a part of this channel. Let's get right into it. So I'll be making this beautiful bubble dress with Ankara. This Ankara is 3 yards. Okay, it's in 3 yards, and I will also be making use of Duchess fabric for the black designs that you saw on is this Duchess fabric is on 1 yard, and yes, that is basically what I used. So to start it up, you are going to fold your Ankara fabric just as you can see me do, and after folding it, I am going to be making use of a basic pattern. This basic pattern is a back pattern, okay, but the neckline is dropped with a front pattern basic neckline, which is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Okay, that is the neckline, but this is a back pattern. It doesn't have a side bust. That and the half length is back half length. If you do not know how to make a basic pattern, check the link in the description and I will be putting it there. Just click it and view every bit of what it takes to make a basic pattern. So after doing this, the next thing to do is to go ahead and fold your Ankara fabric just as you can see me do, and then place your basic pattern on it like so. So after you have placed your basic pattern, you just go ahead and mark the length of the gown. So what I marked here is just the gown length, which is about 40 inches plus seam allowances. So let's call it about 42 inches to take care of the seam allowances, okay, on the shoulder and on the hemline. So right here, I had to place the pattern back. This pattern is to the hip level. This pattern is to the hip level. I have to note that now, okay? Just go ahead and pin your pattern in place so that it doesn't move. Now measure from the shoulder tip to the sleeve length that you want, okay? I measured here. If you want it 8 or 9 inches, just go ahead and mark the sleeve level and extend the line just as you can see me do right here. So I had to go up here by ½ inch. Regular shoulder slope is 1 inch, but this one is half that I used for this boo-boo, and I had to connect it just as you can see me do right here. So after doing that, I had to go ahead and cut out this. So I used ½ inch seam allowance to cut this out. I hope you understand. So having done that, I will come over to the sleeve and measure about 11 inches, and then go ahead and mark that point. Okay, very important. So after doing that, I will measure here. I measure 3 inches here, but please, when you want to do yours, just do 2 inches. 3 inches is too much. It made the boo-boo really big and I had to shapen it a bit more. I removed 1 inch extra. So you can connect straight like this for some people, but I like using the same amount I added to the hip and added it to the waistline and connected like this. That is to make this dress has a little bit of shape. I know that is a free dress, but yeah. So what I measured here, I got 14, and I had to measure 14 inches all through till the hem of the dress and connected it straight up. So that is how to make this pattern to the stage, and I had to go ahead and cut out. I said add 2 inches to the hip line and of course the waistline. You can see that the allowance I used by the side is 1.5 inches. Every other part is ½ inch. That is the seam allowance because it will have a pocket. So I need a lot of seam allowance by the side so that it will make the pocket to lie very beautiful and fine without showing, because it's an inside pocket. So having done this, I had to go ahead and place this pattern to mark the waistline and of course where the shoulder ended, because I'll be needing these measurements later. So I'll go ahead and notch these points just as you can see me do. But right now for the waist, I'll be using it for the pocket placement. I had to drop it by 2 inches. Okay, I dropped 2 inches from the waistline and then notched, because that is where the pocket will be starting from. I hope that makes sense. So having done this, I will come back to the neckline. I will go ahead and measure on the neckline. I want to draw the neckline right here. So what I did is to measure here how much I want this cold shoulder. So I measured 4 inches from where the shoulder ended. That is the notch I put earlier. And here I came in by 2 inches. The neck drop I used is 3 inches from the basic neckline. Okay, so see how I connected the 2 inches to the 3 inches, and then I connected to the 4 inches, just as you can see me do. Aside what I'm saying, just pay close attention to what I'm doing and you will understand. So this is what I did, and this is where the sleeve, the other attached sleeve that forms the complete cold shoulder, will be attached. So this is 2 inches that I marked on the other side. I've marked it again here, and I will go ahead and draw the straight sleeve that will be made with the Duchess fabric, the black Duchess fabric. When we get to that stage, you will understand. So that is what I am drawing right here. I'm just going ahead to draw that sleeve. What I have here is 5 inches, and I will also measure how wide I want this black sleeve to be. You can measure 2.5 to 3 inches is fine. I'll mark it, and this one is about 3.5 inches, but we will be keeping aside what I am going to cut out from here, because it will be needed later. Okay, so I'll keep aside this because I'll be needing it for that sleeve later. So don't throw it away, keep it really safe till when we get to that stage. So after doing this, this is the wrong side of this Ankara fabric, and I had to mark it because it's essential while cutting the back part. So this is the front that I just cut, because the cold shoulder is towards the left. That's where I put the cold shoulder. So right here, I'm marking the back of the fabric as well, because I want to cut the back. Now I didn't place this on fold. Okay, I now placed it wrong sides facing each other, and I'm going to cut exactly the front pattern on the back. Okay, wrong sides facing each other, please. So that is what I did right here, and I had to go ahead and cut it out. Exactly the front pattern is what I cut for the back, placing it wrong sides facing each other, so that what you get is an opposite pattern. Don't make mistake of cutting it on the same pattern. You get the same front pattern twice, and you must have damaged your fabric by so doing. So what I used is 3 yards, but I did not exhaust the 3 yards. I used about 2 yards plus to make this. Okay, so right here, what I marked there is about 7.5 inches. Okay, and notched. I'll measure the same thing this other side and also notch. Okay, so I measured from the first notch I put for the pocket, starting of the pocket, downward 7.5 to make the pocket entry notch. Okay, so having done this, the next is to introduce the Duchess fabric. So watch closely to see what I am going to do right here. So I'm going to keep this pattern aside and go ahead and fold the Duchess fabric the way you can see me do. This is 1 yard Duchess that I used here. So you can see how I folded it. I've used parts of this Duchess for an earlier dress I made. So this is what is remaining, but it's just a little piece I took from the 1 yard. So your budget should be 1 yard for this black fabric. Okay, so I had to go ahead and cut out this, just as you can see me do. I folded and cut out, just as you can see me do right here. So I had to cut a little there to show where it ended. So I'm going to go ahead and measure how wide I want the facing. Okay, so that is what I am measuring here. It depends on how wide you want this actually. So if you use 3.5, you will end up with about 2.5, wide facing. So what I used here is 3.5, and I am going ahead to cut it out. So after cutting it out, I will be applying interfacing on it when I'm done cutting all of them, because I want to cut everything black right now so that I will apply the interfacing at once. So we are done with the facing of the neck. The next is the long strip that formed the cold shoulder and ran straight up on the dress to the hem of the front and then to the back, to the hem of the back. That is what I'm cutting right now. And the width of what I'm cutting out right now is 7, while the length, you will see all of that as I progress. Okay, so you can see what I'm cutting out. The width is 7 inches. The width is 7 inches, and it's in 2 pieces, yes, because I couldn't get it all in one. 7 inches, and when this is 3.5 now because it's on fold, so when I stitch in 1/2 inch, it will remain 3 inches. So the width of the sleeve will finally be 3 inches, and is in 2. I'll finally join it to make up for the front and the back. So right here I am folding up this again to cut out for the sleeve. So you can see how I folded it up and then placed the sleeve. I did not consider the 1/2 inch sewing allowance on the shoulder. Okay, I just cut it like that. It will not be a problem at all. So that is why I just cut it like that. So I folded it in like this. You can see the measurements I have there. It depends on how wide you want yours. Okay, just feel free to do what you want. So right here I cut, and right now I have 2 pieces of this same pattern. So I'm going to divide it into 2 like this. So one is for each sleeve. So now I have all my black pieces for the sleeve, the neckline, and of course the one running straight, and I have applied interfacing on all of it. This one I applied paper gum to it, so that is what I used here, not the thick, not gum stay, paper gum. So the others I applied hairstay to them, the regular hairstay you use on your clothes. That is what I used on this one, and of course on the one that will be placed on the sleeve. Now the next thing to do is to start joining this gown or this bubu dress together. So I'll place it like this and join the shoulder. I've joined it and serged it. That is the first step. Now the next step is to take care of the neckline. That is the facing on the neckline. That is the next step. So what I'm going to do is to place it like this, just as you can see me do. So I'm trying to place it in a way you will understand really well what I am doing. So this is how this is supposed to be after sewing. So this 1/2 inch is what I'm going to sew in. Okay, place it right sides facing on each other and sew. Now after sewing, I had to iron it open. And place it like this on the shoulder. So I'll place it like this on the shoulder and pin it down. So go ahead and pin it down all through and be sure that everything is matching or rhyming the way it should be. So I'm using my pins to pin all of this down, just as you can see me do. So pin it all through from front to back and go ahead and stitch. So I had to go on and stitch all of that. So you can see what I have here. I've stitched it down already, but that fold there made me to go and restitch it. Okay, so I've gone ahead to stitch it all through, and I will notch all through the neckline. After notching, I will push the seam allowance towards the Ankara fabric and then stitch, top stitch. Okay, this will help the neckline to sit really well. So after top stitching, you can see what I have. go ahead and fold in like this and stitch. But before you do that, please iron this from the reverse, okay, and use office pins, that is your dressmaking pins, and pin it all through, okay. So I noticed that this is too wide, especially for the cold shoulder. If I use this width of facing, it's going to make the one that will come from the sleeve to be too close to this facing. So I have to trim off. I just had to trim off 1/2 inch. That is what I did, so that by the time I fold it in and attach the one for the sleeve, it will not be too close to the one on the neckline, if that makes sense. So depending on the length of your sleeve, just feel free to do what works. As you make a dress, you may see one or two things that you may need to, correct before you complete it. So right here, you can see how I use the dressmaking pins to hold this down, and I'm going to be folding as I stitch. So that is exactly what I did there. I folded. As I'm folding 1/2 inch all through, I'm stitching. Be very careful and patient to stitch this so that it will come out really neat and fine. So you can see what it looks like. I'll go ahead and iron it really nicely. That excess, I had to trim it out, and everything is laying really fine. Iron this from the back part, from the opposite, that is from the inside. Iron this neckline from the inside and it will look really neat, okay. So I had to close up the cold shoulder part and serge it as well, and this is what it looks like. We are almost getting done with this dressmaking. Now the next thing to do is to go ahead and work on the sleeve. So this is the sleeve, and I have applied hairstay on it already. I had to fold this into two and notch the middle, so that this will help us to match the middle exactly on the shoulder line of the sleeve. So I placed it like this, placed it just as you can see me do, and I had to pin it down all through. I had to pin it down and then stitch. Okay, after stitching, I will top stitch as well. So you can see the excess on the two sides. That is because of the seam allowance that I did not observe while cutting this black. So push the seam allowance and of course top stitch, and then turn like this 1/2 inch and stitch. So that is what I did, and you can see how I did it. I pushed the black out a bit and stitched, and I did the same thing for this side, and you can see how beautiful it's looking already. Okay, so right here I will go ahead and start working for the stretch strip that forms one of the shoulders, the cold shoulder. So I'll place it like this and stitch these two together and iron open, just as you can see right here. This joining will serve as the shoulder line. So just pin it in place and stitch this way and this other way. After that, we are going to turn it inside out. So I just decided to reduce the seam allowance by 1/4 right here, leaving 1/4 so that the bulk will not be too much. So the next is just to go ahead and turn it inside out. So this is how I turned mine inside out. Feel free to use any method you use to turn something like this inside out. Okay, the main goal is to just bring out the front to the face. Yeah, just to turn it inside out. I hope that makes sense. So after turning it, you're going to place it like this and iron first, then place it again like this and iron really nicely. After ironing, this is what I got. You can see how neat it is looking. So I'm going to go ahead and bring these pieces that I said we should not throw away earlier. Now this is the time. Place it exactly the way it's supposed to be. You can see the excess shoulder seam allowance still passing the shoulder there like that. Place it right. Ensure you place it really right, because this is what we'll be using to place this black. So I ensured that that joining part matches with the shoulder line on the pieces, and I will go ahead and pin it down. You can see what I'm pointing and how I placed it. Go ahead and pin it down with your dressmaking pins. Pin it really nice for the front and also for the back. So this is how I'm going to place it. I had to remove it now because I don't need this anymore. It has done its work. So right now I'm just going to place my dressmaking pins, really arranging your pattern really well to ensure that the black runs straight to the hem of the dress. Now after doing that, I'll turn it to the back part and also do the same for the back. I'll place it and ensure that it is lying really well, and I'll go ahead and use my dressmaking pins and pin it all through. So after pinning, this is what we have. I'll just go ahead and stitch this all through. Okay, stitch, stitch, stitch all through for the front and the back. So this is how I placed it on the sewing machine and stitched all through. I even stitched along the shoulder. I stitched everything all through. I stitched down, and I can remove my pins right now. So this is how to do it. You remove your pins and then the excess on the hem can be trimmed now. So take your black fabric length in a way that is a bit longer than your dress length. So this is what I have, and I'm going to close up the side, leaving the pocket entry. So I'll turn it to the back, and I'm going to stitch exactly on the seam allowance. So taking the seam allowance, I will stitch and get to where the pocket starts. Okay, then I'll leave that space and continue here and stitch till the hem. I'll do the same thing for the opposite side, and you can see the pocket entry. After stitching it, this is what I have. The pocket entry is still there. Now we are going to head over to make the pattern of the pocket. So I'm using black for this because the fabric is remaining about almost 1 yard. Yes, about 1 yard is remaining, and I want to use it as a scarf. So that is why I folded this and folded it again. So what we are cutting is 4 pieces. I just had to make this shape. But now watch my measurements. Okay, what I have here is 8.5 inches, and here as well is 8.5 inches, which is the pocket entry. You know, on the clothes we gave a space of about 7.5 inches, but this one is 8.5 inches. Okay, the depth of the hand, I took about 12 inches for it. So what I have here is about 9. I just added like 3, okay, to get the depth of the pocket. So here I came in by 1 inch and made a slant like this. So this is the pocket and it's complete. I'll go ahead and stitch it round and also serge it. Now watch closely to see how it is attached. So after doing all of this, I'll go ahead and come to this pocket entry, the space I left. I'll be placing this pocket starting from the beginning of that notch. Okay, so place it like this really well and pin it just as you can see me do. Okay, open up the pocket and pin it. Pin one side to the one up and pin the opposite side to the one down. So that is how it is done, and pin the opposite side to the one down. So yes, that is how to do it. You stitch it down. So after stitching, the dress is complete here. I've stitched the pocket and it's in. You can see the pocket. The black fabric won't show because this is an inside pocket. So this is the outcome of the dress. It's so lovely. Are you going to try it out? If you've watched to this stage and you've not subscribed to my channel,
What are you waiting for? So this is the outcome after I have finished and I decided to check on the dress. This came out so beautiful. I'm loving the dress. You can make your own longer, you can make it shorter, but I like this length because with this length like this, I can even go ahead and wear heels on it. Yes, wear heels and it will still look nice, or wear flats on it, depending on how you want to style it. Try it out and let me know the results of your project. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in my next one. Love you all. Bye.